I hit compile on my battered laptop at 2:17 a.m., alone in the rented room whose drywall still smelled of fresh paint and despair. The code built cleanly. When the green check popped up, I almost cried, because after 9 months of freelancing, instant noodles, and watching overdue notices stack like Jenga blocks, the little side project I called Ghostlink finally felt solid enough to show a human being. I should have picked literally anyone except my older brother Eric. He had always been the family's golden child, varsity everything, debate captain, MBA, hair that cooperated with humidity. I was the awkward kid who once fried Dad's router flashing open source firmware. When we were 8 and 10, we built a treehouse. He claimed he did all the hammering and made me pose for the photo holding nails so Mom wouldn't see my scraped knees. That pattern never changed. Eric collected shine, I collected splinters. Still, blood is a stubborn algorithm, and I wanted him to be proud of me. When he FaceTimed and asked what I'd been hacking on, I shared my screen. He whistled at the disappearing message overlay that dissolved the instant you tilted your phone, a voyeur-proof chat layer piggybacking on any app. Eric called it Signal for Introverts and said investors would eat it with silver spoons. "You've got raw genius," he said, "but you need polish, marketing, and lawyers. Let me pitch it at my incubator's demo day. Your code, my pitch deck." I hesitated. The landlord had taped a final notice to my door that morning, and my checking account contained $42 and expired grocery coupons. The thought of Eric's Ivy League charm ferrying my work to capital was seductive. I emailed him the repo link and a PDF roadmap, trusting family over paranoia. 2 weeks passed like a buffering wheel. Eric stopped responding to texts, skipped our weekly gaming session, ignored Mom's group chat. I chalked it up to demo prep until I opened TechFeed and nearly dropped my phone. There was Eric on stage in a charcoal blazer, launching Whisperwave, demoing my interface pixel for pixel. He'd swapped a logo, renamed some classes, and deleted every commit with my email. But the bones were Ghostlink wearing a Halloween mask. The article quoted him, "I built this in my apartment, powered by cold brew and insomnia." I vomited into a trash can, then rage-walked 5 miles in the rain I promised not to mention. Every step hammered the same line of thought. He stole my life. My next thought, I will take it back. First, I needed proof. Git had no deleted commits because Eric had force-pushed a new history, yet my local machine still held the original timeline. I spread screenshots, timestamps, and version hashes across a Trello board. Slack logs from late-night chats with Eric showed him praising Ghostlink's weeness. I even found a screen recording where my cursor pointed out an authentication flaw while he nodded. Lawyers love metadata. I collected it like bottle caps. Second, I needed leverage. Whisperwave's beta was scheduled for Q3, but the live-streamed Global Privacy Summit in San Francisco was 41 days away. Eric would keynote, unveil the production build, and woo Series A sharks. If I could make the product implode, then drop irrefutable receipts, I could vaporize his halo in real time. The weapon already existed. Ghostlink's codebase contained a dormant debug hook triggered by flipping a server-side flag. During early testing, I'd used it to stress test encryption renegotiation. If chaos mode equaled true, clients entered a recursive handshake loop until CPU and battery begged for mercy. I had planned to strip it before release. Eric evidently missed it. All I had to do was flip 1 bit. But sabotage alone wouldn't assign credit. I needed the narrative. So I drafted a Medium post titled, "Stolen Code, Stolen Life, The Truth Behind Whisperwave." Each claim linked to evidence stored on a public IPFS mirror, immutable and timestamped. I scheduled the post for 10:05 a.m. on Summit Day, synchronized with the sabotage. My roommate Nick, a white hat pen tester, caught me diagramming the plan on our coffee table. He listened, then said, "This is righteous, but if any user data leaks, you'll be the villain." He was right. I rewrote the chaos hook to disable network calls after the loop triggered, ensuring no messages left devices. Phones would overheat, but privacy stayed intact. Revenge with guardrails. Next problem? Access. Eric hadn't just stolen code, he cloned my entire DevOps playbook. I guessed he reused my predictable admin credential pattern. First initial plus last name plus launch year plus. I spun up a VPN, navigated to Whisperwave's staging endpoint, tried eAnders 2025, and watched the dashboard bloom open. His arrogance was a skeleton key. Inside, I verified chaos mode was present and false. I created a timed Lambda function to toggle it on May 10th at 10:02 a.m., 2 minutes into his keynote. I also added a failsafe. After 10 minutes, the flag would revert, sparing devices from permanent harm. Now the legal flank. I emailed my friend Priya, a startup counsel who'd once traded me front-end tweaks for contract templates. She reviewed the Trello board, whistled, and said, "You have slam-dunk ownership, but litigation could take years." Civil suits would drown me in fees, whereas public truth would update instantly. She drafted a cease and desist letter to send post-launch. Even if Whisperwave tanked, a paper trail mattered. Back when Ghostlink was nothing but a stub file called main PI, I worked a contract QA gig by day and coded by night. The apartment walls were thin enough that I learned to identify neighbors by the cadence of their streaming binges. To keep my head clear, I set Pomodoro timers. 25 minutes of focus, 5 of pacing the hallway rereading RFCs on ratchet encryption. The key innovation wasn't the encryption itself. It was the gesture trigger. Tilt the phone 5 degrees left and the overlay dissolved. Tilt right and it reappeared, undetectable by screenshots. Money shaped every commit. To afford the Firebase bill, I sold my 3-monitor setup and wrote JavaScript on a 13-inch hand-me-down MacBook whose battery had the stamina of a toddler. Each Friday, I decided which to pay, cellular or utilities. Ghostlink's server costs matured into a weekly boss battle. Failure meant lights out. 3 days before Eric's keynote theft, the landlord taped another 3-day notice on my door. He delivered it in person, flipping the paper between finger and thumb like a playing card. "Passion projects don't pay mortgages," he muttered. I nodded, cheeks burning, because I had no counter-argument. That night, I texted Eric a gentle nudge for status, still optimistic enough to add a smiley. No reply, just read receipts. I didn't sleep. Instead, I ran stress tests until sunrise, watching logs scroll like slot machines, hoping the universe would align 3 cherries for once. It did, but for Eric, not me. After the tech feed gut punch and rain-soaked rage walk, I returned home to find a red lockout sticker on my door. I spent the evening loading possessions into Nick's trunk. 2 suitcases, 1 desktop tower, and a box of programming books nobody reads twice. When a trickle of empathy threatened to soften my fury toward Eric, I stared at that sticker and remembered the echo of the landlord's footsteps fading down the hall. Recruiting allies was tricky. Betrayal is contagious. I looped in only 2 confidants, Nick and Mara, an InfoSec meetup acquaintance who had once reverse-engineered a voting machine for fun. Mara audited my Medium draft, adding a section explaining why the chaos bug wouldn't jeopardize personal data. "If you turn the world against him, make sure the world knows you're not casual about collateral damage," she advised. She also generated a SHA-256 hash of the article and posted it to a blockchain timestamping service, guaranteeing immutability if lawyers try to take down. While I coded Sabotage, I also applied for real jobs, the responsible adult parallel universe. Recruiters ghosted within 3 emails. One startup CTO said my resume looked great, but they had already hired a visionary named Eric Anders. The irony tasted metallic. That rejection moved vengeance from plan to necessity. As Summit Day approached, I trained like an athlete. I rehearsed worst-case scenarios. What if Eric unplugged the demo phone? I tweaked chaos mode to wait for 12 client handshakes before spiraling, guaranteeing a delayed detonation no manual reset could stop. What if conference Wi-Fi isolated handset traffic? I discovered Whisperwave's demo build hard-coded production endpoints. My cloud function still ruled. Physical OPSEC mattered too. I bought a prepaid SIM at a gas station, carried 2 phones, and wiped my laptop of personal files, cloning only the essential scripts. Nick mocked my spy thriller theatrics, but paranoia is just pattern recognition, seasoned with experience. The night before flight, I Googled, "witnessing sibling downfall psychological effects." Results offered nothing useful. I closed the tab and packed earbuds and Advil. 41 days evaporated in caffeine and freelance deadlines. My landlord threatened eviction twice. I paid him with emergency gigs scraping e-commerce data. Nights I fell asleep with headphones playing conference videos, memorizing Eric's cadence so I could predict his showmanship. Some nights guilt gnawed. Was nuking my brother worth fracturing the family? Then I'd open LinkedIn and see him trending again, and resolve hardened like epoxy. I flew to San Francisco on a bargain red-eye, couch-surfed in Oakland, and bought a last-minute student pass with a forged EDU email. On summit morning, Moscone Center buzzed like an overclocked server farm. I took a seat 12 rows back, hoodie up, heartbeat attempting a DDoS on my ribcage. Eric strode onto the LED-lit stage, spotlight turning his blazer into polished armor. He thanked investors, praised my incredible dev team, no names, then unlocked his phone. 10:01 a.m. He showcased Whisperwave's disappearing overlay, exactly the feature I'd invented in nightly solitude. Cameras flashed. Applause. 10:02 a.m. My Lambda fired. On screen, the overlay flickered, reloaded, flickered again. The demo phone's CPU indicator spiked. Eric's confident patter hiccuped. He tried to relaunch. The UI froze. In the crowd, murmurs spread like ripples. 10:03 a.m. Reporters' test devices mirrored the meltdown. Notifications jammed, batteries drained. The irony of a privacy app overheating phones became instant meme fuel. 10:04 a.m. Eric blamed server turbulence and beckoned an engineer who looked like she wanted to evaporate. 10:05 a.m. My Medium post went live. 10 seconds later, my Twitter swarm began quoting it, linking proof threads, tagging every tech editor. Push notifications lit up even laggy phones. The feed became a rolling indictment. On stage, an assistant whispered to Eric. His complexion shifted to printer paper white as he read the headline. Whisperwave founder accused of stealing brother's code. Get receipts inside. The live stream abruptly cut to a conference logo. Lights rose. Attendees funneled toward the exit in confusion. I slipped out before security closed doors, rode BART back to Oakland with adrenaline tremors. My phone buzzed until its battery surrendered. Among missed calls were Mom, my high school CS teacher, 3 venture funds, and an unknown Washington, D.C. area code. By dusk, the tech press was a bonfire. Headlines rotated every hour. Whisperwave collapse. Founder's brother drops proof. Seed investors considering fraud charges. Eric's LinkedIn bio quietly switched to on sabbatical. Whisperwave's site redirected to a blank status page. My article hit 1 million reads in 16 hours. Eric texted at 1:12 a.m. Call me, we can fix this. I stared at the screen, thumb hovering. Then I archived the thread. If he wanted conversation, he could route through counsel. The next weeks were surreal. Venture capitalists who ignored my cold emails now opened with apologies. Journalists camped in ARD technology, dissecting my Git diffs like forensic pathologists. A class action lawsuit brewed from beta testers whose phones overheated. Their lawyers politely asked for my deposition. Priya negotiated witness immunity in exchange for technical testimony. Mom left voicemails pleading reconciliation. Dad wrote a single email. Proud you stood up for yourself. Also, family group chat muted indefinitely. Reality, however, still demanded rent. So I flipped the narrative forward. I renamed GhostLink to EtherChat, scrubbed the chaos hook, and pushed a polished beta. I tweeted, if you believe privacy belongs to users, join the waitlist. 10,000 signups slammed my bare-bones site within an hour. I hastily scaled servers using credits from an accelerator that previously rejected me. Within days, a venture fund known for backing solo devs called. Their partner opened with, Revenge is a hell of a growth hack, but we like your architecture even more. We closed a modest seed round, enough to pay a small salary and 2 hires, not enough to intoxicate. Meanwhile, Eric vanished from social media. A leaked memo showed Whisperwave's board freezing his shares and searching for a buyer who'd assume liabilities. No one wanted the brand. The code was radioactive. Buyers would only bite if I certified ownership. I saw leverage in neon letters. Through counsel, I proposed terms, full acknowledgement that I was sole creator, his voting shares reassigned to me, and a public apology pinned on Whisperwave's channels for 48 hours. The board agreed in a heartbeat. Eric, facing breach of contract clawbacks, had no room to protest. He sent a final email. "You ruined both our lives. Hope you're happy." No apology, just entitlement. I dragged it into a folder labeled Entropy. The apology campaign went live on a Tuesday morning. Millions saw Whisperwave's accounts tweet, "We acknowledge Ethan Anders as the rightful creator of the technology previously showcased. We apologize for misrepresentation." Screenshots flooded Reddit's "Our Justice Served." I felt a clean click inside my chest, like a dislocated joint snapping into socket. I didn't forgive. Forgiveness is future-focused. I was busy rewriting mine. EtherChat grew carefully. I instituted a policy. Every commit retains contributor metadata. Public and immutable. Transparency isn't just code, it's culture. We merged pull requests in daylight and thanked authors by name in changelogs. Early hires asked why I was obsessed with attribution. I pointed to the framed screenshot on my office wall. Eric mid-keynote, CPU bar pegged at 100%. The cost of erasing a name. 6 months post-launch, EtherChat's monthly recurring revenue covered salaries and my first ergonomic chair. Reviewers praised its seamless overlay, ironclad encryption, and the founder's moral clarity. I blushed reading that. Truth is messy, but clarity sells. Occasionally, Q&A panels asked if I missed my brother. I answered with angles. I miss the idea of him. Reality, I'd learned, is forkable. 1 year after the sabotage, Wired commissioned a retrospective titled "The Whisperwave Implosion: How Attribution Became a Weapon." The journalist spent 2 hours probing my psyche, searching for remorse. I confessed I slept fine. I hadn't set out to ruin Eric. I'd set out to name myself author. The ruination was his own exception-handling failure. The article closed with a quote from Eric, obtained through a brief phone call. I gave him a platform. He burned it down. Even now, he claimed paternal credit. The internet rolled its eyes. I kept building. EtherChat released a quantum-resistant protocol vetted by independent cryptographers. We open-sourced the core under an Apache license, so no one could ever gatekeep it. Downloads surged past 5 million. Our Slack overflowed with fan art of cartoon ghosts holding keys. One evening, scrolling through notifications, I found a DM from a college freshman. "I almost quit CS because everyone takes credit for group work. Your story kept me in." I stared at it longer than any investor term sheet. Revenge had produced collateral inspiration. That felt like karmic interest. Thanksgiving came and went without a family gathering. Mom mailed pumpkin bars and a note. I wish things were different. I shipped back an EtherChat hoodie and a thank you for believing in both sons, even when one made it hard. The hoodie showed up in a photo months later. Mom at a charity run, EtherChat logo bright on her chest. No tag to Eric, just #ProudMom. In our quiet way, we'd patched the buffer overflow in our relationship. The last loose end appeared year 2, an industry rumor that Eric was consulting for a surveillance startup overseas. Reporters pinged me for comment. I wrote one sentence. Some lessons need repeating. It became the article's pull quote. Am I afraid he'll steal again? No, I open-sourced my soul. There's nothing left to lift. And if he tries, the watchdog's eye awakened will bite first. Because that's the secret Reddit never prints. Revenge stories don't end with fireworks. They end with vigilance. The hero wins, then stays guardian, so the villain can't respawn under a new alias. And that's what I do. Ship code, pay people, and guard names. No ghost, no mask, no stolen glory. Just me, the repository, and the truth, merged for a veer in commit history. Settlement talks unfolded over video calls where lawyers spoke in measured syllables, as though punctuation cost extra. Whisperwave's attorneys opened with regrettable misunderstanding. Priya countered with copyright statute numbers that landed like artillery shells. The opposing counsel then tried sentiment. He's family, surely there's room for healing. I unmuted for the first and only time. Healing starts with accurate authorship. That ended the sentiment experiment. In the end, we signed a royalty agreement retroactive to first commit. Every share Eric lost transferred to a holding company in my name. The dollar figure wasn't extravagant, but validation has compounding interest. Each clause served as scaffolding for the future I was about to build. The day I received the first small royalty wire, I walked past my old apartment. A new tenant's curtains fluttered inside. I felt no nostalgia, only relief. Proof that places, like reputations, are leaseholds, and you can upgrade by insisting on the truth. Every keystroke after that felt lighter, like coding with gravity permanently switched to half mode.